The Grand Meridian looked like a jewelry box exploded. Chandeliers, white roses, a string quartet I'd paid for. 300 guests in tuxes and gowns drifted between towers of crystal. I blended in wearing an off-the-rack suit and a smile. That said, I'm fine. This was my sister-in-law Sophia's big day. She was marrying Charles Davenport, banking royalty. My wife Clara floated past in emerald silk, tossing me the usual please don't embarrass me look. Her parents, Eleanor and Henry, beamed like minor nobility. I'd quietly funded about 60% of this spectacle: venue, catering, music, the works. They'd thanked the universe. I sipped the champagne I'd also paid for and kept my mouth shut. Let them think I was Marcus, the harmless dreamer with a little investment hobby. Truth is, I prefer invisibility. It's useful when you're moving serious money. The roast Sophia snagged the microphone. "Before we keep celebrating," she sang, "I want to thank family. Even my dear brother-in-law Marcus, who's always chasing some grand business plan. He calls it entrepreneurship." Air quotes. Laughter. Clara chimed in when asked how long I've been at my passion project. "Forever," she laughed. "Since before we married." More laughter. Then came the kicker about my Honda Civic, and how maybe one day I'd afford Clara a nicer car. Applause. I kept smiling. I've learned a long time ago. Let people underestimate you. It's the quietest kind of leverage. The name at the head table. Charles was chatting with a banker who waved a hand and said, "Poor fellow runs some little outfit, Imster Holdings or something." Charles froze. I watched him cough, swallow wrong, then stare at me like I'd sprouted horns. He stood, walked to the mic, and asked for the room. "Ladies and gentlemen," he said, voice unsteady, "I've just learned something that changes things. Marcus Reed isn't just Clara's husband, he's the founder and CEO of Imster Holdings." Silence fell like a dropped stage curtain. "Mr. Holdings," he continued, steadier now, "is one of the largest private firms in the state. They outbid my family's bank last year on Westfield Commerce. My father's been trying to meet its founder for months." 300 faces turned from amused to ashen. The revealed Charles handed me the mic like it was a live wire. I took it. "It's true," I said. "I built Mr. Holdings, 25 years. We manage roughly $2.8 billion in assets, hold controlling stakes in 47 companies, and pay, directly or indirectly, about 12,000 people. You could have heard the air conditioning. Half this room works for companies we own or influence: Crawford Communications, Sterling Manufacturing, Peterson Industries, Westfield Commerce, Morrison and Associates." Heads dropped. Eyes widened. A glass shattered near Eleanor. I turned to Sophia. "Since we're being honest, about 60% of tonight, venue, food, quartet, was paid for by Imster Holdings, my company, my money." Sophia's mascara surrendered. Clara stared like she'd discovered a stranger wearing my face. "So, next time you're tempted to laugh at someone's dreams," I finished, "make sure you know what those dreams have already built." I handed the mic back and walked out to clean night air that felt like truth. Fallout by sunrise, my phone was a siren. The same people who'd giggled at the roast were now delivering breathless apologies. Flowers arrived, voicemails multiplied. Eleanor came with a casserole and a shaky smile. When I called it your little business, sweetheart, I was being supportive. Even her sorry had quotes around it. Henry wanted to talk local partnerships. Translation: "Make me rich, son." Sophia called twice a day. "I was nervous. I say things wrong when I'm nervous. Apparently for years." Charles's father reached out too. Finally got the meeting he'd been chasing. Respect opens doors that banging never will. The talk Clara avoided me for 6 days. Then she knocked on my office door like it might bite. I didn't know, she said, small and earnest. "Why didn't you tell me?" "Would it have mattered?" I asked. She started to say yes, thought better, and settled on, "Things will be different now." "They will." I said. Not a threat, just a boundary. 6 months later, different indeed. Eleanor and Henry retired little business from their vocabularies. Sophia recalibrated her personality around my brilliant mind. It was nauseating, but quiet. Davenport Bank and I inked a deal that made us both richer. Mutual respect is good currency. Clara and I moved cautiously. The contempt in her jokes was gone. So was the easy closeness. We were polite, careful, rebuilding, maybe. I don't punish. I don't forget either. What I learned, power doesn't need a spotlight. It doesn't argue with drunk microphones. It doesn't post receipts. It builds quietly until one day it decides to speak and the room listens. That night, a ballroom laughed at the man who paid the band. Then the groom said my name and the music changed.